JD Vance may turn out to be one of the worst vice presidential picks of all time. Maybe even worse than Sarah Palin, who was widely panned. Not because JD Vance is unable to communicate the way Sarah Palin did, because JD Vance doesn't have an understanding of facts and figures. No, because JD Vance holds some of the most extreme views ever. And celebrities, some of the most well-known celebrities are picking up on it and are not big fans. So Jennifer Aniston just came out with an Instagram story that made headline news, and I want to show you that. It's about JD Vance's position on people who do not have children. It's actually one of the stupidest things I've ever heard, because politics is about addition, not subtraction. You want to grow the amount of people that want to vote for you, especially when you're running a presidential campaign. The margins are so important. So attacking single childless people is just not a winning strategy. But here's what JD Vance said, and this is what really pissed off Jennifer Aniston. So watch this.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices that they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. And it's just a basic fact. You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children. And how does it make any sense that we've turned our country over to people who don't really have a direct stake in it? I just wanted to ask that question and propose.
Childless cat ladies is a wild thing to say about a large portion of the country who choose not to have children, and some who don't have children because they actually can't. So it's just one of the stupidest, most offensive things you could say to voters is to mock them when they don't have children, and especially when there's so many people out there who can't have children and desperately want to. We should be lifting up anyone in America who wants to have a better life, regardless of whether or not you want to have kids. That is not a morality. That does not define your morality, whether or not you have children. I'm sorry. And by the way, Kamala Harris has children. She's a stepmom. And I'm going to show you this after the Jennifer Aniston clip. But Doug's, I'm going to make sure I said this right, Doug's ex-wife, Doug's ex-wife, came out in support of Kamala. I want to show you that statement after this.
Robin, we heard Trump's running mate, JD Vance, refer to Harris as a, quote, childless cat lady. We should note the actress Jennifer Aniston, who does not have children, posted that clip on Instagram and said this, quote, "I truly can't believe this is coming from a potential vice president of the United States. All I can say is, Mr. Vance, I pray that your daughter is fortunate enough to bear children of her own one day. I hope she will not need to turn to IVF as a second option, because you are trying to take that away from her too." I mean, these kinds of attacks, I mean, they offend, I mean, just about anybody, I would think. I mean, it's just extraordinary.
It is extraordinary because people who don't have children still pay for the taxes, still pay for school. We do not get tax breaks. I mean, I'm not married. I don't get a tax rate for being married, and that is fine. But do not attack people who don't have a typical lifestyle or a traditional lifestyle just because it's different from you. And there are a lot of powerful people who choose to not have children, and there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. And it really is something that JD Vance is out here making these proclamations, and that some of the most powerful, well-known people in the world, Jennifer Aniston, though she is political, she does not wade that often into politics. And for her to come out and say this is a really big deal. Think about how big her following is. She is one of the most well-known women in the world. She's been around since the 90s. She has almost like a cult-like following with white women, suburban women. And for her to bring attention to this to people who probably wouldn't have otherwise seen it, because let's be honest, like, even though you and I are paying attention to this campaign right now, there are not a lot of people still paying attention. It's going to be until August or October until people really check in. But for Jennifer Aniston to bring that forward to her 45 million followers, 45 million. There are 300 million people, 330 million people in America. So this is not nothing for her to bringing this up to that group of people. And this is the group of people that they need to desperately win if they want to have a chance in November. And it seems like they're doing everything they can to lose. And here I'm going to show you this now. Here is what Doug's ex-wife has to say about Kamala Harris as a stepmom. Kirsten Emhoff, who is Doug Emhoff's ex-wife, Kamala Harris's husband, said on the Republican attacks on Kamala Harris for not having children of her own, quote, "These are baseless attacks. For over 10 years since Cole and Ella were teenagers, Kamala has been a co-parent with Doug and I." She continued, "She is loving, nurturing, fiercely protective, and always present. I love our blended family, and I am grateful to have her in it." Ashley Parker, who is a Washington Post reporter, you probably see a lot on MSNBC. She goes on Deadline White House a lot. She said this, which I think is perfect. I'll just say, endorsement as a stepmom from your partner's ex is possibly the hardest endorsement in the whole damn world. That is very true. The fact that JD Vance has created this environment where not only is Kamala Harris being endorsed as an amazing stepmom, but then also on the same token, offending some of the most well-known celebrities, well-respected women in the world is not how you want your first week as a vice presidential candidate to go. And I am so glad that this is out there because women should not feel at all less than because they choose not to have kids or because they don't have kids if it's not a choice. There's nothing, you are not in any way lower than any other person because you do not have children. It is ridiculous. I'm glad it is being met with the fervor it should because it is honestly, as a man who doesn't have kids, I understand that being a woman, it's just a different thing and it's just all around not okay. And so these are the things that we're going to have to push back against as we head towards November because this is just the start. It's only going to get more disgusting, more often, and more incredulous. So we have to be vigilant and we have to push back as much as possible. But thankfully, it looks like some of the most well-known, well-respected women are on our side. Also, by the way, Republicans, learn her goddamn name. It's Kamala. It's not hard. It's like Mamala. Kamala. Learn it.
I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?